Services Minister Ronald Lamola is cutting ties with G4S security. It comes after Thabo Bester's escape saga. So let's get more from the Minister, who joins us live now. Minister, thank you so much for your time. A very good morning to you and welcome to the morning show. Talk to us a little bit about where things are standing when it comes to G4S. I mean, I'm sure we can recognize that this has been a significant embarrassment on behalf of the Department of Correctional Services as well as Justice, because in some instances, justice was almost denied to those who had to suffer the fate of Thabo Bester and his rape and murder.
Yeah, good morning, Faith, and to the viewers. Indeed, the department has served a termination notice to the Mangaung Correctional Center contract, which is a private contractor. That facility is operated by the G4S, as we have already said, on the basis of a number of breaches of contracts that the department has found to be egregious, and we believe the contractor is unable to fulfill their obligations in terms of the contract. So on that basis, including the historical issues in relation to the contract, the department has decided to serve the termination notice.
Yeah, but unfortunately, when it comes to the state of correctional services facilities, Minister, it's not just about Mangaung. Mangaung, unfortunately, we have come to know about it because the man went shopping. Had we not gone shopping, we would never have known about it. But there's also this issue also around the correctional services facilities in the Eastern Cape, where we had two convicted rapists escape on Friday, where one inmate was recaptured. The other one is still on the loose. And more than anything else, you've been brought down hard on by the likes of the Tears Foundation, saying you are allowing for these rapists to run rampant and unfortunately re-victimizing the victims. So it's not even just about Mangaung, is it? It's about other correctional services facilities where it seems like it's prison break all the way.
No, that is not correct, Faith. We have delivered our annual report and our plan yesterday in the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee. And you will have seen that in the last financial year, we only had 22 escape out of plus minus 152,000 inmates across the country. And that was a reduction. So there is, from time to time, there will be such isolated incidents. And one of the inmates that has escaped in that facility has been arrested, and 8 employees that did not follow standard operating procedures have been suspended, and the disciplinary processes are underway. So in this regard, these are isolated incidents which the department continues to curb. So the Mangaung Correctional Center issue has just brought it to the spotlight. Yeah. But when you go through our annual performance plan and report, you will then realize that these inmates are also put to work across our facilities now as we speak, producing their own food and also getting some of the skills. So there is work of rehabilitation that is happening within the Department of Correctional Services.
I hear you on that. I mean, for example, though, you've got a story saying that in March 2022, you had 4 dangerous prisoners escape from the Rooigrond prison near Mahikeng in the northwest, right? April 2022, 3 remanded detainees escaped from the Maysbury correctional facilities. May 2022, 5 awaiting trial prisoners deemed as dangerous escaped from police holding cells in Xeris. And I could go on about this. June 2022, prisoners escaped from Wellington correctional facilities in the Eastern Cape. Though you are saying that these may be isolated incidences, unfortunately, they've got a significant impact on those that have been affected by their crime. And that means that there's certainly gaps that still need to be covered in that. And could perhaps one of those gaps, Minister, be the privatization of some of our correctional services facilities? Is it working? If G4S can conduct such an operation, is it working to have private entities control some of our correctional facilities?
Yeah, when you do that, Faith, mentioning those that escaped, you must also mention that almost all of them have been rearrested. So that shows that we take this issue very seriously. And when such happens, the officials sprang into action to look for them. And that's why when you look at the Rooigrond, unfortunately, the others I can't remember, but I know for sure that all those 4 that we are referring to in Rooigrond, all of them have been arrested. And the majority of those that escaped get rearrested within a period of 24 hours. So it shows that there is work that we're doing, and we ensure that if it does happen, there is a breach of the operating procedure, we definitely rearrest. But with regards to the private prisons, it's also a very wrong misconception. We have got more than 200 prisons in the country. We only have 2 that we were running through a concession contract, and which is the Mangaung Correctional Facility and the Kutama Sentumule in Makado in Limpopo. So it's not like generally the whole correctional services, there's private prisons that are there. These 2 prisons were put as a pilot project to look into fast-tracking issues of infrastructure. And if you look into the issue of fast-tracking of infrastructure and overcrowding in prisons, these 2 facilities gave us about 5,900 beds. The Mangaung one is giving us 2,900 beds. As we take over now, we've got a facility that can take 2,900 inmates. So there was value in terms of the infrastructure. So we should not throw the baby with the bathwater. There was a value.
So from an infrastructure perspective, Minister, if I may, from an infrastructure perspective, it seems as though it was working. However, from an operational perspective, it was not. Because the very same 2 facilities that you're mentioning also had to suffer at the hands of an escape, right? And these escapes set a precedent. If one person can escape, it means that other inmates are looking at it and saying, hold on a second, I can escape too. That's why it's so crucial that we address this issue around escaping. You were also mentioning how, you know, though they have been apprehended, unfortunately, Minister, you and I can concede it should never have happened in the first place. A person that is there for corrective measures should have behavior corrected without thinking that they get to escape from the system. It shouldn't have happened. So it did happen. So my question then becomes, the pilot project, is it working?
So, Faith, firstly, on that aspect, indeed, we do everything that we must comply with the procedures. There must be no escape. It must not happen. But the point I'm raising is that where it has happened, they've been arrested. And you can go all over the world. There is no country in the world where sometimes they don't have such isolated incidences of escape. The key issue is that when it happens, you learn from those, close the loopholes, and rearrest such people. With regards to the pilot project, what we then can confirm is that in terms of infrastructure, we've got value for our money for both the correctional facilities, as I've said, about 2,900 beds that this Mangaung Correctional Facility will be leaving us with. But what became a teething challenge was the operating procedure, the operating contract, where we had a number of challenges since its inception, and therefore there has been a number of observation notices that have been issued with regards to such operating procedures. And it has been a decision of the Department of Correctional Services, even before this matter of Bester came to the fore, that we will not be proceeding with this type of a model for both the Mangaung Correctional Facility, which we have now decided to issue a notice to terminate, but also for the Nkutama Sitimule when it expires, because that one is going to expire in 2027.
Minister, what next now? Do you now solicit the assistance of another private company whilst when this termination actually comes into effect? Are you going to be vetting that company? How will that company be vetted so that all the checks and balances are actually put in place? Because at this moment in time, once you get rid of one contractor, you need to be able to instill another contractor. And who are you thinking of at this moment in time?
At this moment in time, we are not thinking of any other contractor. We are thinking of taking over ourselves. That's why we are mobilizing within our own available human resource and also within our own available resources to deal with issues like the food in the facility, the medical provision that we provide, the technology that is there to maintain and run it. So we are still at this stage looking at our own internal capacity. If our internal capacity is not enough, we will then look into whether we may need to augment it with any other capacity from outside. But at this stage, we are looking at our own internal capacity to take over the running of the facility, as we have done with when we took over the Bosasa operations across the country. You will remember this also happened during this period of my term, where we took over that facility and that operation. And as we speak now, inmates are cooking for themselves, they are plowing, they are producing food for themselves, they are working in the various workshops across the country to produce various products, including their own uniform. So we do have a level of capacity that we can leverage on. and if there is a need to augment, we will be able to tell the nation. But at this stage, we're doing that assessment.
Minister, much appreciated for your time as always. We'll leave it there for this morning. Minister Ronald Lamola there, the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, just giving us some more of an update and clarity on government's decision to lay off security company G4S.